Emyoga.
One of the best government interventions.
Meant to get Ugandans out of poverty.
How many people have paid back the money?
They really did not return their money.
Some people mismanaged their funds.
Leaders took much of the money.
Most of these people who are eating the money, they say they are cadres.
Some districts have not got any money.
A hit or a miss.
Emyoga has not died in Soroti City.
She has died at birth.
This Friday on News 24/7.
We are also going to start vaccinating children.
Vaccination of children will only be undertaken if parents accept their children to be vaccinated.
Jona got vaccinated at school.
Samanya kontino mwana wange bagenda kumupima. Bwe bamukuba empiso, Jona yatandikira wencha okuzimba.
I went to Kyadondo Hospital and interviewed Jonah on his deathbed.
I
was trying to get the first-hand information.
Mwana n'atabuka n'atandika okusesema omusaayi.
Just wondering, what's killing Jonah?
Wangamba ekibumba kya Jona kyafa, ensigo zaafa.
So we got to know about the details of the vaccination and the uptake 2 weeks after.
For even simple things such as doing a blood test, consent is required.
Jonathan died.
Investigating journalists.
Killing Jonah. Emyoga.
One of the best government interventions.
Meant to get Ugandans out of poverty.
How many people have paid back the money?
They really did not return their money.
Some people mismanaged their funds.
Leaders took much of the money.
Most of these people who are eating the money, they say they are cadres.
Some districts have not got any money.
A hit or a miss.
Emyoga has not died in Soroti City.
She has died at birth.
This Friday on News 24/7. Emyoga.
One of the best government interventions.
Meant to get Ugandans out of poverty.
How many people have paid back the money?
They really did not return their money.
Some people mismanaged their funds.
Leaders took much of the money.
Most of these people who are eating the money, they say they are cadres.
Some districts have not got any money.
A hit or a miss.
Emyoga has not died in Soroti City.
She has died at birth.
This Friday on News 24/7.
You're watching our YouTube channel, News 24/7, live on our Facebook channel. The man I'm going to be interviewing is Hon Apollo Kantinti. He's an agro businessman, also former member of parliament for Kyadondo East during 2016-2021 electoral term. He's a politician and he understands politics, especially politics of this Kampala region, which is not very easy politics. He's a member of the Forum for Democratic Change. By the last time I met him, he was a member of the Forum for Democratic Change. And I last interviewed him in 2016. How has life been for you since then?
Thank you. Life has been, of course, very bumpy. The last time we met, WBS.
Yes, WBS.
WBS. Then I was going on to win. Of course, it has been very bumpy. You know, I won.
Yes, 2016.
My election got robbed away from me. Or stolen away from me. My victory, not my election, my victory. And so since then it has been bumpy. In and out of courts of law, yeah, in and out of cells, in and out of everything. But good willing and thank God, I'm alive, well, still moving on, soldiering on.
When you say your election was stolen, let's start there. In 2016, you were MP for, I think, a year. Kyadondo East until 2017.
Right.
Court nullified your election.
Exactly.
Why do you say it was stolen? And yet it was courts of law. We would think that justice was served.
You know, we have, I think, all our viewers, our listeners, they know how our process works. We went through the electoral process, through nominations, through campaigning, through casting the ballots, through counting of the ballots, right? And then declarations. And we got what in Uganda we call it the declaration form.
Yes.
And we got declaration forms from all candidates. And it was very clear I had the victory. Honorable Sitenda Sebalu, together with Nkunyi Muwada, who is the current member of parliament, ran to court and file and say that I think 13 polling stations were not tabulated. Now, the 13 polling stations not being tabulated did not mean that people did not vote. The people voted. Their votes were counted. The agents signed on these forms. And the results and the DRF forms, we all had them. We were 9 candidates, 9 strong candidates. We had God give rest her soul in peace, the late Stella Njuba, who was a daughter to Mr. Njuba, Sam Kalega Njuba, who was a very strong political figure. We had the Kamomes, who were very strong DP people. And so, court agreed with them. To my surprise, court agreed with them that, oh, these 13 polling stations were disenfranchised. No, they were not disenfranchised. They came in, they voted, their votes were counted, the DRF forms were signed, the boxes were still intact and there. And so, if that's not theft of, if it's not denying the people of Kyadondo East their choice, what do you call it?
There was a by-election right after that.
There was a by-election right after that.
What is your story with that by-election?
That by-election was this part of the Karwangwa, Andrew Mwenda projects, and I don't know who else would have been involved.
Andrew Mwenda was not in that election. The by-election was that's the by-election that brought Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu to Parliament.
Yes, Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu to Parliament. Now let's recall. Let's go back a step or 2 steps. Let's go back a step. When the president was swearing in, when we had won that election, that cycle, the election cycle, that term, let's call it a term. When the president was swearing in, he gave a warning, which all Ugandans had. He said, now the opposition, I'm going to chew you up.
That was 2016.
As a Subusa.
2016.
That was 2016.
Yes.
And that's when I went to Parliament. While in the opposition, we were chest thumping and saying, okay, how are you going to chew us up? Bring it on. Little do we know how he was going to chew us up. And how has he done it? When you look at today, he creates an alternative opposition.
What's that alternative?
Alternative, not very viable. An alternative opposition. What happened? we had a by-election.
Yes.
When we had
In
a
Kyadondo East,
we had a by-election
2017.
in Kyadondo East.
One of the,
I
the most followed by-elections in the country.
One of the most followed by-elections in the country. One of the biggest by-elections won by a very, very big margin, right? The only by-election where the former IGP, General Kale Kaihura, personally was at the tally center as the votes were being tallied.
To maintain security.
And until, well...
He was a policeman by then.
That is the only one. Have you ever seen him even at the presidential? Had you seen him at the presidential vote tallying centers? Yet we had a lot of complaints about those. This was the only by-election where you had, let me call him the notorious, according to the ones who think he's notorious, Karwangwa, come all the way from Kayunga.
From Kayunga, yes.
And come and start distributing 50,000 shilling notes in the constituency.
But normally
has spoken about these things.
Normally when by-elections are happening, political parties pick their strongest mobilizers from all over the country to come to this particular constituency. So that is
True.
not...
True.
Yeah.
True.
Because I'm thinking even FDC had your strongest mobilizers.
I had my Nandala Mafabis, I had my Ingrid Trinawes, I also had my big guns, Mugisha Muntu.
Yes.
By the way, that's the last time that Mugisha Muntu and Kano Kizza Besigye were in the same state, and that's fine. And then NRM had their Lumumba. By then she was Secretary General.
Yes.
And Lumumba was there. Kasolo Lumumba was there with that team. The Rosemary Senendez, the Mama Finas were also on ground. Karanga is a non-associate of the NRM.
Yes.
IGP, former IGP, yes. Kale Kaihura, you're a journalist. You know that at one point he came out and openly praised the president and the NRM for the leadership.
So was Karanga there to support the NRM candidate?
Karanga was not there to support the NRM candidate.
Who was Karanga supporting?
And Karanga was supporting Kyagulanyi.
Karanga, the chairman of NRM in Kayunga.
Exactly.
Was supporting
Kyagulanyi. Was in Kyadondo East. And was going to
his
offices.
He's not here to defend himself.
Exactly.
So you have to give me some details about this. Give me some details to prove that he was indeed there to support Kyagulanyi.
Definitely. The way he operates and the way that he had been operating was as such. He operates covertly in his operations, but you can know that. But you can take another person. You go do your research. General Kale Kaihura was there for the tabulation of the votes. Right? Was there. That's the only one. And I challenge you to this. You go and research it. That's the only tabulation of results where he was. Yet, they had a very big margin. Are we together?
When you say they, who do you mean? Because you say Kaihura is a non-associate of President Museveni.
Not an associate only.
He's a general.
He's a general, as they refer to themselves. He's a general. He's a freedom fighter. He has sacrificed for the country. He's been very many things.
Yes.
And he has openly come out. And even if he was still a serving police officer, he has come out, right?
I'm just trying to
put his affiliation to the movement.
I want to understand when you say they, who do you mean? When you said they in 2017, the by-election of Kyadondo East, who do you mean?
This was NRM bringing in somebody who was going to be an alternative. This was NRM bringing in somebody who would later come to form a party, and I invite you to investigate this further, who would come in later to form a party that will be the alternative to any other eventual party that would have come up. Because I wouldn't say it was only FDC. We had DP. Eventually, down the road, Mr. Mugisha Muntu came up also with a party of his, right?
Yes.
And other people we have seen have come up with other parties, right? And so you have to ask yourself, and it goes back to what I was saying when the president was swearing in, when he said, I'm going to chew the opposition as well, as samosas.
Yes.
Slightly after Kyagulanyi wins election.
Are you trying to mean that Kyagulanyi, Sentamu, Robert, and the entire NUP was brought by NRM?
Yes.
Do you have proof for this?
Affirmative.
Where's your proof?
No,
because it's a different political party. And because they're not here to defend themselves, we have to.
It has got. No, they're not here to defend themselves. And I'm not here to pin them.
Yes.
I'm just.
But you have to give me some details to prove, because you don't want to just throw around. Yes, you don't want to just throw around accusations like that. Those are heavy accusations, don't you think?
Let me give you something that was right now it's no longer trending. Our Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, slightly before he got the post of Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, what was he talking about?
He was a Democratic Party president. He is still Democratic Party president.
Yes.
Yes.
He is still the Democratic Party president. What was he talking about? They had a fight with a Noop.
Yes.
And some of its people, right? And he had begun revealing some of the things he knew. That very gentleman was also in the constituency. And they
campaigning for DP.
We had negotiated at FDC, and as a candidate, we had negotiated with Kamome and said, you know what, please bow out of this. Let us take this on, and we get the seat back. Let's not give it to NRM. On the day of nomination, Mr. Mao, who was in Kyadondo East, told her to dress up and told her we've got to nominate. Then there came,
maybe your negotiations.
Then there came a lot of posters. Yes, listen. Then there came a lot of posters. Then, about 5 days to the election, there were lots of drives saying, please support any candidate of your choice, but not this one, not Lilian Come On. That was on ground. People saw it. People had it. Right? And now we find out later on, right now, yeah, he's been in very good cahoots and in bed with Mr. Museveni, and there he has his negotiated positions. That's his business.
In your opinion?
In my opinion, that was, in fact, people should go back and interrogate or investigate the Kyadondo East by-election and the intentions of why court nullified the victory of 2016, my victory of 2016, because that was now a turning point. Now, there is a new alternative, and the new alternative is no. And now no, which is not bad, it's okay, anybody, you know, is fine to deal with that. And now, no, you're finding that whenever NRM is addressing what they want to call the opposition,
yes,
they're addressing no. At the same time,
but isn't NUP right now has the largest members of parliament? You know, it is the leader of opposition. It's leading all of you in parliament.
Our Lord Mayor has a term he used. There are many terms he uses, but there's one that says, "Do not vulgarize something." Yes, NOP has got the biggest numbers. After they having the biggest numbers, you're finding it that you have got some veteran, experienced politicians who did not get swallowed into NOP, right? Yes. Even those who got swallowed into NOP, who right now cannot actually even hold debate, who are being trashed off the stage, who are being chased off media platforms like these ones.
How do you, let me just ask you this, how do you assure me that NUP and Kyagulanyi were brought by President Museveni and NRM, and yet, given the way they were treated during the elections, you saw everything, you saw, you know, them being beaten, tear gassed, and all those, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
How does someone who is in cahoots with the other do that to another?
Oh no, you know, yes, they were harassed.
Yes.
They were beaten.
It was one of the most violent elections.
Which was even with other elections. Go back and do your research. They were beaten and harassed in the central region.
Yes.
Outside the central region mostly, but they were kept. They were confined. This, I think, it needs quite some time. Here's the thing. In my thinking, this is my thinking. This is my opinion. Here's the thing. Create a party. A party that can be pro-Buganda, pro-Catholic. A party that can be a very good replacement of the Democratic Party, Catholic Party, or FDC, and FDC, which is mostly, there was a lot of support all over the country, but urban areas, the support was quite a lot. Yes, Kyagulanyi comes on. Kyagulanyi gets nominated. The story of how NOP got registered and everything, Mr. Mao, who had begun spilling the beans, is right now the minister of justice. So I don't think there are any more beans he's going to spin, right? If you go back and you look at it and you research, he was only late campaign in the central region. Much as it was violent. You give me any other big rally where he went and it was successful. He was tear gassed throughout all over up country.
But he actually
he was tear gassed.
But he was. I was on that campaign trail. He was doing campaigns in many districts. In many districts,
which were popular. No, I mean, talk about centers. We talk about if you're on a campaign trail. You talk about an urban area.
No, what I'm trying to say is what demographic are you using to say that Kyagulanyi only was allowed to campaign in the central region?
Right now, I'd say when you listen to their, what they call it, their talk, they're now reducing it to exactly how they planned it. That, nope, is a central Uganda-based party. It's not whatever in northern Uganda. It's not very.
But that has not been said by NOP. I don't think any.
It has been said by NOP. It has not been said by NOP.
Yes.
It has been said by some of the NRM spokespeople.
Yes.
And so when you keep on hearing that kind of talk continuing, then there it follows up to what exactly they could have, their playbook could have been. And when you look back, and now, no risks being branded as the Buganda
party.
And we're back to 1962, 1964, when you have the Kabaka Yeka, and now you have a Buganda party, and then you're going to see all these areas saying now that one is a Buganda Catholic party. Yet before, you had a semblance of all other areas and regions. And also, this is not to blame NOP. They have not been allowed to mobilize. They have not been allowed to mobilize.
But you're saying they were brought by NRM, so why are they not being allowed to mobilize? If NRM wants NUP to be very successful, more than
in
FDC and everybody else,
in the Western countries, they've got some fields of hay. If a fire catches, the best way to fight that fire is to start a contained fire around the fire, the wildfire that is going.
Yes.
So you burn and you have a contained one. So, in other words, what am I saying? And I cannot talk because of their internal demographics, but isn't it a contained fire of the opposition? And yes, it came, and it's strong. And Ugandans were desperate, and they said, no, let's try this other guy. You guys, we've given you a chance. FDC, you have been here telling us, this is what is going to happen. It has not happened. Now let's try this young boy. And then you get the Buganda diehards. But you get the Buganda diehards saying, the law we are bringing our boy. Those things of theirs, no. And then you finish up later on. And has it gone anywhere? Have you seen a lot of cooperation and whatever with the opposition parties.
If
No.
NUP, as you say, is a Museveni project,
Yeah.
then what is the real opposition in Uganda?
Now, that's the question. Is it going to be there? DP has been signed over by its president, right? They are working with him. FDC definitely, and this has been working with all other parties. It's not just with this case. But FDC definitely, we lost most of our people.
To NUP?
Yeah, those are the ones who are vibrant and internal.
Yes, I saw
fighters.
Buembo. I think Buembo last
Even
week joined
Buembo
NUP.
last week joined NUP. Now you see what's happening. Now the ones who are, some of our colleagues who were trying to reign on are saying, Buembo was insignificant. No, you cannot say Buembo was insignificant. Buembo was. He was a fighter, was a foot soldier. But not only that, even the supporters, even the people who have tried several times. So by creating this other alternative, you've got a contained, controlled, guided opposition.
Don't you think that maybe because you lost an election to Kyagulanyi, you have a you have a conflict of interest against him, and that's why you think that he's a project?
No, that's not the case, because even after he lost the election to Kyagulanyi, we kept on meeting.
When did you last speak to Kyagulanyi?
We are cordial friends.
When did you last speak? Because you're from the same area. You're from Kyadondo
we are
East.
from the same constituency. Last spoke to him before the last elections.
With the 2021 election?
Yes, that's when I last spoke to him.
Did you tell him the things you're telling me now?
But it was quite very sensitive.
Did you tell him the things you're telling me now?
We have had some conversations, by the way. We have some conversations. If he has not diverged them, that is it. But we have had some conversations. And we had conversations, by the way, even way before Kyagulanyi came to stand, because I went to seek for his support. So there are things we have discussed in between ourselves that I would not feel comfortable disclosing if he is not disclosing them as of now. Because right now, he's a major figure. He's a very big figure. So I would not feel comfortable disclosing those conversations without that. But when you look at it, you look at the genesis of the whole thing. Analyze it. Find out the talking points of the NRM right now.
Do you think that the NRM
see.
is in a state of more comfort now that they have NUP as the leading opposition party, more than how they were with FDC?
It wasn't. By then, it wasn't just FDC. Yeah, by then it wasn't just FDC. There were independent members of parliament that were very strong. There were some. Maybe I wouldn't want to mention names, but there were some members of parliament who were really concrete and who would bring the challenge on, right? And now, and this is where it's going, the politics has become, I don't know if it's a circus. You're not looking at people wondering what's on the order paper. You're not looking at people wondering, is the budget being made? How much is being allocated to this? You're not having people talking about that. But what do you show on the news, on the media, mainstream media, on social media? What kind of news do we have? Right? So I'm not saying that it is a bad breed of MPs, but I think Mr. Museveni, President Museveni, is more comfortable.
Like a Sumbusa now.
Himself, the Sumbusa, he has done what? That's what he has done. So now you're having people saying, if it's going to be politics, you have got to have the capability of going to the police station and rolling yourself in the ground, and they're going to vote you. You've got to have the ability of going and jumping into a swamp of water and saying, this is my people dying. There you're delivering. You've got to be the kind of person to come out and sit on the floors of parliament as a demonstration. There you're talking.
All right, we're still with Honorable Apollo Kantinti, still discussing issues of politics and this country, opposition politics, to be exact. We'll take a short break now, and when we return, we'll talk about the current affairs of politics. We did talk about what happened in 2017, and we'll be able now to talk about the things that are happening right now. You can converse with us, ask questions, give comments on in the comment section of the YouTube channel, but also on the Twitter handle at News247UG and on Facebook 24/7.
Emyoga,
One of the best government intervention
meant to get Ugandans out of poverty.
How many people have paid back the money?
They really did not return the money.
Some people mismanage the fund.
Leaders took much of the money.
Most of these people who are eating the money, they say they are cadres.
Some districts have not got any money.
A hit or a miss.
The Myoga has not died in Soroti City.
It has died at birth.
This Friday on News 24/7.
We are also going to start vaccinating children.
Vaccination of children will only be undertaken if parents accept their children to be vaccinated.
Jonah got vaccinated at school.
Samanyako nti n'omwana wange bagenda kumupima. Bwe baamukuba empiso, Jonah yatandikirawo enkya okuzimba.
I went to Chirudu Hospital and interviewed Jonah on his deathbed. I was trying to get the first-hand information.
Omwana n'atabuka n'atandika okusesema omusaayi.
Just wondering, what's killing Jonah?
Wangamba ekibumba kya Jonah kyafa, ensigo zaafa.
So we got to know about the details of the vaccination and the uptake 2 weeks after.
For even simple things such as doing a blood test, consent is required.
Jonathan died.
Investigating journalist.
Killing Jonah this Friday on News 24/7.
also going to start vaccinating children.
Vaccination of children will only be undertaken if parents accept their children to be vaccinated.
Jonah got vaccinated at school.
Samanyako nti n'omwana wange bagenda kumupima. Bwe baamukuba empiso, Jonah yatandikirawo enkya okuzimba.
I went to Chirudu Hospital and interviewed Jonah on his deathbed. I was trying to get the first-hand information.
Omwana n'atabuka n'atandika okusesema omusaayi.
Just wondering, what's killing Jonah?
Wangamba ekibumba kya Jonah kyafa, ensigo zaafa.
So we got to know about the details of the vaccination and the uptake 2 weeks after.
For even simple things such as doing a blood test, consent is required.
Jonathan died.
oyagala kubeera ki ng'okoze?
Investigating journalist.
Killing Jonah this Friday on
Emyoga. One of the best government intervention.
Meant to get Ugandans out of poverty.
How many people have paid back the money?
They really did not return the money.
Some people mismanage the fund.
Leaders took much of the money.
Most of these people who are eating the money, they say they are cadres.
Some districts have not got any money.
A hit or a miss.
Emyoga has not died in Soroti City.
It has died at birth.
This Friday on News 24/7.
Hello, good morning. Welcome back. We are live on YouTube channel News 24/7 with Honorable Apollo Kantinti, former Member of Parliament, Kyadondo East, member of the Forum for Democratic Change, and a businessman. Before we went for the break, we had a discussion about the Kyadondo East by-election that brought Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert, who is now president of Uganda's leading opposition political party, NUP. And now, I want to talk about FDC. Some people think that FDC is blaming its failures on NUP. So NUP has become a scapegoat of the sorts with regards to why FDC is losing ground, especially in the central region, which used to be a stronghold of the FDC, and is casting all its burdens on NUP. Is that true?
Well, I wouldn't totally dispel it or dispute it, because in every political party, in every organization, you've got different people, different opinions, different views, and different reactions to any situation that may happen to you. So of course there are some in the FDC that are blaming NUP and saying NUP has done this and that. And then there are others who realize that as any organization or any family or any business, there are challenges. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you gain ground, sometimes you lose ground, right? So with these challenges, for me, in my personal opinion, I think it was a matter of time that this creation I've been talking about, right, had got to be founded, or it would have emerged out somewhere. We had our internal problems, we had our internal challenges. We have seen big wigs, some of our big wigs founders, like the Mugisha Muntus,
Yes.
leave us. We have had others that we have had close political affiliation with and operational affiliation with leave and lay low and let go and, not perform so much. So the blaming, I wouldn't be so much on that side, but I wouldn't say that for sure. There are not some FDC members who think that NUPA is stolen. But NUPA is not stolen. Like I've been explaining to you. NUPA is a creation. Museveni. Yes, that is Museveni now. He's telling you he's chewing his sumbusa. As he wants it. He's going for the...
So Museveni brought NUP, in your opinion, exactly. Museveni brought NUP to destroy FDC.
You see, now, at some point, and this is how it has been. Look at history. When a DP, a UPC, those parties were founded.
Yes.
Way before. Those are some of our oldest political parties, right? When CP came, CP did not take a very big part of what? Of the chip. Other parties don't take a big part of the chip. When Reform Agenda and PAFO formed FDC, we got most of our supporters from DP. Most of them. And some from UPC. Right?
Yes.
And others, some of us by that time, who had no political party affiliation, joined the election and said, this is the new way to go. Right? That was the new thing. That is what was trending. And that is what was moving. And that's what seemed to be the vehicle that could drive the change that we dreamt of. Right? So now you tell me, after a couple of rounds, sometimes getting close, other times, according to the numbers that some of our bosses have, yes. Other times saying we won the election. We actually did win the election, right? Something that has not yet been, confirmed by courts of law. They have not listened to the case yet. The case where Kano Kizagwisiji swore himself in,
yes.
Right? So when that happens, the common man, my border guy, the lady who sells me tomatoes, the person I go to try and ask for a vote, right, with a small salon, the Mutembeyi, the hawker, who is being chased from Kampala streets to get to Wakiso, and even Wakiso, the space is not there for that one. I say, but Bwana Kantinti, we have given you these options. We have given you enough chances. Katileka nono akakolechi?
Kagezeeko.
Nono kagezeeko. Naye kati mmwe buli kaseera mutugamba kiggwa leero. Kiggwa leero. People get tired. Right? And then do that. So when that happens, people are bound to flee. And even the ones who are working within. So right now it may seem a very long road, and even with the trend of what's happening. Now the oldest political parties, when you see Uganda People's Congress, and you see Mr. Jimmy Akena and his wife and some of them working with the government, right? You're aware of that? When you see Democratic Party, that one, now the Sumbusa is going, you're getting to the three corners of the Sumbusa. When you see Democratic Party, when they are signing their MOU, they are signing it over with the party.
Yes.
When you look at,
but is it wrong for political parties to create alliances? Because it's happened even at independence. UPC allied with KY, Kawaka Yeka, to win the election. That's how we got our first government, through an alliance.
Exactly.
In Kenya, they ally all the time. Actually, in every Kenyan election, there are alliances.
It is not wrong. It's not wrong for political parties to create alliances.
Yes.
That's never been a wrong thing. I don't think that has been illegal anywhere. It's not illegal. Political parties can create alliances. And this one, I'm not going to talk so much about it because I don't want to judge the Democratic Party. I don't subscribe to the Democratic Party. They have got their issues. But then having a president of a party, signing an MOU, committing a party, and then going to serve whoever the party is opposing, right? That's a very big story there. That's a very big story there. Is it legal? Yeah, they could have done their things in a legal way, right? And it's up to the Democratic Party and their people and their neck to go fight it. But that is.
Let me ask you this: you want to be a leader in Uganda. You aspire to lead people of Kyadondo East and people of Uganda in its entirety.
Sure.
Because the reason why you want to do that is because you want to help people in a certain way. There are certain things that you believe that you can change, isn't it?
Exactly.
What if President Museveni gave you that opportunity today and told you, Apollo Kantinti, come and be Minister of, Finance, Business? And what do you do?
That's perfectly fine. I'll give you an example.
But you are faulting the DP president for doing exactly that.
No.
Maybe he thought he can help in the justice.
The Democratic Party president, actually, I won't say the party. In my opinion, the Democratic Party president did it in a different way. We have an iron lady. We had an iron lady by the names of Betty Kania.
Yes.
Who went ahead and joined the government, right? And right now, if you're to ask me, yes, she's right where she needs to be. If that happened, yeah, that would be perfectly fine. But when members of parliament swear in, they're swearing in to serve the government. And we have opposition members of parliament from my party, from other parties that are in government and they're serving government.
Yeah, and the DP is
they bring in a person who can rein in on corruption. Unfortunately, she's facing challenges, but who can rein in on corruption and she gets the job of IGG? Yes, that works, right?
But for you, you are opposed to working in Museveni's government at all costs.
No. For this one, I cannot say I'm opposed to it. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's not my party. Yeah.
But
subscribing the party.
But it's
the party in its entirety. The party is going to work with, not only work with, right, but also promote the policies of the NRM. Yet it's an opposition party. Now, the president is sitting on this side, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. On the other side of the aisle are his people who were elected by Ugandans, if that's not hoodwinking Ugandans, by Ugandans, and they were elected because of their views. They were elected because they were opposition. They were elected because they were a Democratic Party. They said it when they're being nominated, and they got nominated under their parties, under their political parties. And now you have your president saying that he's going to be running the agenda of the other party. You see what the difference is? Now that is different from the Iron Lady I've been telling you, Betty Olive Namisango Kamia, who, as an individual, said, you know what, let me go work with the government and do this. And like I've told you, it's not wrong. She can have that. We had some of our founding members that I admire so much. We have a gentleman called Augustine Ruzindana. Augustine Ruzindana was once IGG, I think. And that would have been perfect. Now, if he later on came, subscribed to the FDC, still subscribing to the FDC. But if he's called back and say, you know what, Augustine Ruzindana, you come and be the anti-corruption boss. That's not wrong. That's not wrong. He just doesn't take FDC with him.
I want us to skip to move on to something that is more current. Muhoozi Kainerugaba.
Yeah.
There is a Muhoozi project currently going on right now. It's now in the open. Politics, a lot of political discussion, especially on Twitter, about the son of the president becoming the next president of the country. You've said President Museveni brought NUP to destroy opposition.
Yeah. And
now here comes Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is openly saying that he's going to be the next president of the country. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's kind of some of the trends that are going on in other countries. And that's something that I'll honestly tell you we have got to give a very hard thought about. Very, very, very hard thought about. In one of our meetings, I think I can talk about this, but in one of our meetings, as we were having crisis management in FDC, Mr. Mugisha, General Mugisha Muntu, shared with us and said, you people, we need to get ourselves organized. Taking a country or ruling a country is not an easy thing. And they said, when we came in 1986 and got power, the next morning, we were wondering, what are we going to do with this? And then we began. And we had a phase of learning. And the phase of learning, we began getting some benefits, right? And then we had falling out when we saw some of our own people wanted to remain in power. Those are not the ideals or those are the ideas we had in the bush. When I look at General Muhoozi Kainerugaba's career, this is my personal opinion. When I look at his public life, I don't think that he can be ready, apart from holding on firmly and forcefully. I don't think that he can be ready to be patient with the demands the Ugandans have. I don't think that he can be, he can audit enough for the corrupt officials that we have enough to get that in order. Because so far, I've seen some of the tweets like everybody else,
yes,
but I've not had him go much in that direction. Then what is more troublesome is the people that he has around. I saw on one of the TV stations, Andrew Mwenda, the other day.
Yes, he's the spokesperson.
Saying he's the spokesperson
of Muhoozi Kainerugaba Army.
Yeah. And before that, if some of us had even tweeted before that, and we had said everything that is going on here has the fingerprints of Mwenda.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing?
No, now who is going to become president? Is it going to be Muhoozi Kainerugaba? Is it going to be Andrew Mwenda? If you have got somebody, now, when we go back, when we look at history, President Museveni had colleagues. He had bosses. When he set out to go to the bush, he went with some 27 colleagues of his. When they came from the bush, he had colleagues like the late Honorable Wakapabulos that who were there, that were strong foundation, who knew what they were doing. He had people, much as were opposing to him, but he's a very big strategist and a very big planner. Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi, right? He had these people around him.
Yes.
When you show me that Muhoozi has got Mwenda next to him, Mwenda is a very bad trigger. I'm telling you. You go and follow Mwenda. And those tweets you're seeing and the arrogance you're seeing and they're saying that we are supporting Russia against Ukraine when we're a third world country. We are receiving aid from these development partners. Europe is showing you that we're on one side with America supporting
Ukraine.
Supporting Ukraine. And then you, I think he's a presidential advisor?
Yes.
Mwenda. And then you're out there.
No, Mwenda is not a presidential advisor, but I know that Muhoozi is a presidential advisor
Muhoozi is
on special operations.
On special operations.
Yes.
And so, now you have a spokesperson on whatever saying that it's very dangerous. Ukraine should not attack. Ukraine should not fight what?
Russia.
Russia is going to clear this thing in a very. History is showing us 1 year later. This is the kind of person. When you look at those tweets that have been coming out, even the ones that have forced a country, the chief diplomat, actually, that's why we call him the fountain of honor, is the president.
Yes.
Where a tweet from a serving general is forcing a sitting president to apologize to a neighboring country. And again, I saw Mwenda the other day saying, me, I was in Ruto's office and Ruto took this as a joke. Mwenda, you're the one who is representing Uganda. Why is it Mwenda isn't it the one who went to apologize? Right? And the president of the country had to apologize. Not even the ambassador to Kenya, apologizing and setting the record straight. But our president had got to apologize. So when you see that, if that happens, and it's going to be a tough battle. I'll tell you that for a fact, because when you look at history over, in many countries, even developed countries, the position that he has, he's a full general right now. He's the son of the president. He has grown up in the corridors of power. He has the influence. He has recruited in the army, who some of them have spilled into the police, right? So he has got many of the corners dotted. And so that is going to be something very hard to explain to Ugandans who are going to be telling you, no, we are tired. Then the other thing about it, the way their chatter, let me call it chatter, their chatter that I'm seeing is that they're saying this is the only alternative who can remove Museveni. If you try to talk about anybody else, tajja kusobola. But this one, he's the only alternative you have. So Ugandans, if you want. So in short, they are shoving him down Ugandans' throats. In short, tajja kulachi, this is the only one who can do it.
But isn't he the only one who can do it? What do you think? Because UFDC have failed, NUP just lost an election in 2021.
No, it should have been done constitutionally. You cannot say that FDC has failed. You cannot say DP failed. DP ran some very, very, very strong campaigns during the eras of the late Paul Kawanga Semogei.
Yes.
FDC ran some very, very strong campaigns. We have our internal numbers, our internal statistics. We got really, really, right? We did really, really good. NUP also ran. Actually, NUP, for it, as they say, when the wave came, people were like, okay, let's go with this. They also ran very good campaigns. Though they were interfered, like you mentioned, rightfully so, they had a lot of interference. And they not allow them to campaign very freely. I know they could have moved, but somebody can let you campaign in where we are now in HSS. Somebody can let you campaign in, let me say, in Manyangwa, in my constituency, past Gayaza, and tell you this trading center you can campaign. Yet I want to come to Chesas, where there is a market.
Yes.
And then you told me, no, don't go near the market. Don't go to town. And that's where people are populated. And that's where people are doing their commercial activities. And that's where I want to be. They did not let NUP do that. So they did not fail. What was failed was a lot of stuff was done unconstitutionally, barring the opposition. So it's not the opposition as such that has failed. No. The opposition has been stifled, it has been suffocated, it has been intimidated. Everything has happened to it, everything has been thrown at it. And now they are saying that this is the one person who can do it.
Yes.
And when you hear their talk, they are saying that, no, what he's going to do, he's going to make an improved version of what NRM is taking forward. He's going to do an improved version. And that's where, by the way, they came back and compared that and said, and when you look at Kyagulanyi and his NUP, they don't have an alternative policy. But this one is going to improve on the policies and on the workings of the NRM. Whatever has failed, that is what they are selling.
I have spoken to senior NRM members who are even at the Central Executive Committee.
Yeah.
And they say he's not a member of their party.
Yeah.
They have actually rejected him. I've spoken to SEC members in NRM who say they rejected, and this is on record.
And he's not.
He's not a member of their party.
He's not a member of the party. But
they are not looking at, and this is very important, they are not looking at him as their next president. They say they have many people in their party.
Now, ask them this question. You're a journalist. Go ask them, who can be in line? Who? Ask them to give you just 2 names of anybody who would pop his head out. Because every person who has popped his head out, I think we know how it has ended. Either within the NRM, who is the last candidate who tried to declare his presidency intentions within the NRM? When Amama Babas came out, what happened to him? Then there is another one after. I'm forgetting his name. There is one who was trying. That one was deflated before he could even begin. The tires were deflated of his vehicle before he could begin. Then you have the Kizza Besigye's. You have the Mugisha Muntus. Don't they have the capability of commanding? Don't they have the capability of putting people in order? Now you ask them, now among, look at the SEC members, just the SEC members. You hear them. The baboons, they are disgruntled when you hear their talk. They are disgruntled. They are sick. Now you ask them to pinpoint one person. And then we're going to see what's going to happen, what's going to be happening next. They can't.
So 2026,
talking right now.
The supporters of Muhoozi Kainerugaba say he's going to be president come 2026. What do you see for 2026? What do you
It's going to be a very tough time. We should brace. It's going to be a very tough time.
Do you see that the son could stand against his father? Is that possible?
No, I think, and this has got history to blame. I'm not going to blame any one particular person. In Africa, we have a history, if you go back and you look at it, we have a history of presidents leaving power
to their sons
and getting prosecuted. Before you say to their sons and getting prosecuted.
Okay.
The moment they leave power, if they've been in power for a very long time, they get prosecuted after. We've seen that in West Africa, we've seen that in South Africa, right? So, how better to feel safer than leaving power to your own son?
Who will never prosecute you?
Who will never allow prosecution against you? There is someone I was interacting with and said, Kano Kizza Besigye, your boss, and he was also in our party. I won't mention the name, right? But he said, your boss, the problem with you people, you're very stubborn. You're very big-headed. I say, now how are we being big-headed? The man is being a big problem. He has refused to go. Say, no. When your boss came back from South Africa, we told him, Uganda is big enough for all of us. Don't be very aggressive, right? And when we reached Kololo, Kano Besigye was busy warning Mr. Museveni and saying, I've come for you, right? Say, now when the man fears, he's not going to go anywhere. If he fears and you tell him I'm coming for you, you think he's going to let go? No. He is also going to cling on. And he has seen the fate of other leaders because people can be brutal. He has seen the fate of some of them who have been taken to the ICC. There are cases, the cases of
Zuma in South Africa.
There are cases here that have been taken to the ICC from Kasese. Is it from where? Where General whatever blew up.
Yes, Kasese.
From Kasese. So if a person has got some of these things looming over his head, how do you think he's going to let go of the immunity he has and the protection he has?
As president.
And that's where I'm saying that then Ugandans are being blackmailed into this is the only choice you have for peaceful
transition.
Now, maybe the question should be, I'm thinking, if we're to think progressively, the question should be, if that is going to happen that way, what are some of the amendments we're going to bring back to our constitution? And this one can be addressed to our Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, right? Okay, let's say that. Let's put back whatever we have removed from the constitution to suit this one person. Yeah, maybe we'll keep quiet. And maybe there will be less friction. And then we have a very good debate about our country, Uganda, and we go forward. Are we talking about what we're talking? So, even if he suffocated down Ugandans' necks, whatever the way they are going to be doing it, then we know, okay, he's going to be there 10 years, and then 10 years we'll have another alternative. We'll have a brilliant alternative. There's a lady in NRN I can talk about her, because I'm not going to say anything bad. So that cannot cause you trouble. There are ladies like that I'm seeing are getting wasted, like the Lydia Wanyotos. If you ever interact with her, much as she's NRM, She's a straight shooter. She knows all her facts. She knows what exactly she's doing, and she knows what she wants. They're there. Then you've got some others who, and those ones who are saying that, no, we don't know him as out. No, it's just going to take one meeting. And then they will say, this is what is happening. And anybody who objects, you're going to follow, they call it precedence in law.
Yes.
You're going to follow what has happened to others who have fallen out of line.
What are your final remarks as we close this interview? Very hot interview of ours.
My final remarks are, right, we should brace for 2026. Call upon our viewers, our listeners, to save or try to find alternative ways of income or get into farming, at least be it subsistence. That is very good, because the economic times are still going to be tough. And very soon people are not going to know who to blame. People are going to see times are tough. They're getting back in the villages. There are no dams for the cattle. They're getting back to the villages. There is no proper or even possible or even minimum irrigation system that is in place. The last time we had about an irrigation system, our president was telling us about bottles from Renzori, right?
Yes.
So somebody may say, let me go back, and then where they are going, that's going to be tough, because again, the sun is going to be out there, the rains are dwindling down, and just be firm. 2026, this Mohozi project continues, and at the pace it's going, which it seems it's the pace it's going. It has already set off, and by the time you're getting Mwenda to be a spokesperson, that has already set off. It's not going to be very easy. We try to get the best out of it, because definitely the NRM has mastered their techniques of how they, before it was rigging elections, now they steal them. The last you heard from Kayunga, what happened, right? They simply announce. So where we're going, we need to have very good legislators, or very good, anybody, it doesn't have to be members of parliament, anybody who can get an opportunity to get a microphone like this, speak out, and let's be aware of the times coming ahead.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Apollo Kantinti, former MP, Kyadondo East, member of the Forum for Democratic Change, and an agro businessman. My name is Daniel Lutaya. Thank you very much for watching us for the entire 1 hour of this exclusive interview. We'll see you next Saturday. Good morning.
Emyoga,
one of the best government intervention
meant to get Ugandans out of poverty.
How many people have paid back the money?
They really did not return their money.
Some people mismanage the fund.
Leaders took much of the money.
Most of these people who are eating the money, they say they are cadres.
Some districts have not got any money.
A hit or a miss.
Emyoga has not died in Soroti City.
She has died at birth.
This Friday on News 24/7.